Welcome to yogadownload.com. This is Jennifer Lux, birth doula, mother, and yoga instructor. I'll be leading you through a prenatal vinyasa flow today. This class is appropriate for all levels and all stages of pregnancy. Please have a block available to make some of the poses more accessible to your pregnant body. If you'd like to learn more about my teaching, please visit warrioracademy.com. Sit up on a block in a comfortable cross-legged position and close your eyes. Lengthen out of the crown of your head and draw your shoulder blades back and down. Ground your sit bones firmly into the block beneath you, finding your best posture. Now take a deeper, more intentional breath. Let that prana, that life force, fuel your intention for this practice today. Perhaps this is a time for you to connect with your baby. Maybe your focus is to realize the power and resilience that lies inside you. As you inhale, invite something in. Patience, peace, acceptance, strength. And as you exhale, let something go. Fear, doubt, pain. We practice this connection with breath here because it's our most powerful tool in labor and delivery. Take one more full round of breath and then bring your hands to heart center. We'll start today with one Om in celebration of this beautiful transition from woman to mother. Empty your lungs. Breathe in. Let's start moving. Roll forward into a tabletop position, planting your hands flat, and remove your block from underneath you. Stack your shoulders over your wrists and spread your fingertips wide. Stack your hips over your knees and curl your toes under for stability here. Moving into 3 rounds of cats and cows. As you inhale, lift your sit bones and chest towards the ceiling, head lifts, and gazes straight forward, allowing your baby to sink towards the floor. As you exhale, round your spine towards the ceiling, making sure you keep your shoulders and knees in position. Release your head towards the floor, but don't force your chin to your chest. As you inhale, lift your head, lift your sit bones towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, round your back and gaze at your baby. Inhale. And last time, exhale. Come to a neutral spine. Slide your knees back 4 to 5 inches and keeping your toes curled under, and lift your hips into downward facing dog. Spread your fingertips wide, grip the mat with your fingertips to take the pressure off your wrists, and notice if the creases of your wrists are parallel to the front of your space. Take a moment here to bend each knee and move around. Shifting your hips side to side. Come back to downward facing dog. As you inhale, lift your heels high into the air. And as you exhale, draw your heels to the mat. Inhale, come high into the balls of your feet. And exhale, lower your heels. One more time, inhale, lift up. And exhale, lower down. Start to walk your hands back to meet your feet at the back of your space for Uttanasana forward fold. If your fingertips don't reach the mat, grab a block and rest your hands on the block. We use this pose to create more space in the back body, in the hamstrings, to elongate the spine. You can grab opposite elbows if it feels good. Keep your inner thighs rolled back and your knees soft. And now sweep your hands behind your back and interlace your fingers. Draw your fist towards the front of the room and lift halfway up, creating length in your spine. Keep your elbows soft. And release. Place your hands on the top of your thighs and slowly roll to standing. Make your way to the top of your space with your block. Place your block on the long edge at the top of your mat and find Tadasana. Feet a little wider than hip width distance apart. Inner thighs roll back to make room for the tailbone to descend. Knees are soft and shoulder blades are on your back. As you inhale, reach your arms overhead. Grab your left wrist with your right hand. And as you exhale, draw your hands over to the right, creating more space in the left side body, keeping equal weight in your feet. Inhale, come back to center. Switch your grip and draw your hands over to the left, opening your right side body. Inhale, come back to center. And as you exhale, drawing your hands through heart center, fold forward, placing your fingertips on the top of your block. As you inhale, lift halfway up, creating length in your spine, gazes down at your toes. And as you exhale, plant your hands on the top of your block and step your left foot back, finding low lunge. Energetically scissor your feet together here for stability and rise into crescent lunge, shoulders stacked over your hips. Your left inner thigh draws back to descend your tailbone and right knee stacks directly over your right ankle. Press firmly through the ball of your back foot to straighten your back leg a little bit more. As you inhale, straighten your front leg. As you exhale, sink into your lunge. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Exhale, lunge. One more time, inhale, straighten. And exhale, lunge and hold. Breathe in here. And exhale, plant your hands at the top of your block and step forward. Inhale, lift halfway up, hands on your shins, neck is long, gazes down at your toes. And as you exhale, round your back, fold forward. Inhale, rise up, reach overhead. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, plant your hands on the top of your block and step your right foot back, finding your low lunge. Press firmly through the ball of your back foot as you rise into crescent lunge. Shoulders stacked over your hips. Press firmly through the ball of your back foot to straighten your back leg a little bit more. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Exhale, bend. Sink into your crescent lunge. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Exhale, crescent lunge. One more time, inhale, straighten. And exhale, bend. Hold here as you breathe in. Exhale, plant your hands at the top of your space on your block and step forward. Inhale, lift halfway up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise up, reach overhead. And exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Find Tadasana at the top of your space. Feet a little wider than hip width distance apart. Tailbone descends as your inner thighs roll back, and then reach your arms overhead. As you exhale, sit down and back into Utkatasana, chair pose. Upper body back, biceps along your ears. Reach forward, breathe in, and as you exhale, sweep your arms back. Show your palms to the mat, keeping your hips low. Inhale, reach forward and up. And exhale, sweep your arms back, sit down a little bit deeper. Inhale, reach forward and up. Last time, exhale, sweep your arms back, show your palms to the mat. And this time, inhale, rise up, reach overhead, straighten your legs. And exhale, bow forward. Bring your fingertips to the top of your block. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, plant your hands on the top of your block and lift your left leg into the air for standing splits. Lift from the left inner thigh so your toes point straight down at the mat, dropping your left hip down. Keep a micro bend in your right knee. Lift your left ankle a little bit higher, and then bend your right knee. Step your left foot back. turn down your left heel and rise into Warrior Two, Virabhadrasana 2. Your front heel is aligned with the center of your back foot, and your hips and shoulders are square towards the long edge of your mat. Look down at your right knee and make sure it's tracking straight forward. And then as you breathe in, straighten your front leg, reach up, look up, and connect your fingertips. Exhale into Warrior Two. Inhale, straighten your leg, reach up, look up, and exhale into Warrior Two. We're reprogramming our range of motion here. Inhale, straighten your front leg, reach up, look up, and exhale into Warrior Two. Inhale, reach forward. Place your right forearm on the top of your right thigh and sweep your left arm bicep along your ear for extended side angle. Roll your heart, your baby, and your chest open towards the ceiling. Continue to tuck your right sit bone under. Take one more cycle of breath here. And then on your next inhale, come into Reverse Warrior. Left hand down the back leg, avoiding the knee. Place your fingertips on your calf or your thigh, and sweep your right arm for the space where the ceiling meets the wall behind you. Continue to sink deep into your front knee. Breathe in, fill your lungs with air here. And then as you exhale, move into triangle. Straighten your front leg. Send your hips towards the back of the room and reach forward and down for a block, your shin, or the mat. Especially if you have your hand on your shin, press your shin forward into your hand to unlock your knee and reach your left arm straight towards the ceiling. Gaze or drishti at your left fingertips. Hips and shoulders working towards stacked here. Right sit bone tucks under. Breathe in. And as you exhale, soften your front knee coming back into Warrior Two. Straighten your front leg. Turn your right toes toward the long edge of your mat. Hug your baby in, pull your belly button to your spine, and fold forward into Prasarita Padottanasana. Take a moment here to bend each knee, to move around organically and intuitively. We practice that sort of movement on the mat because that's the sort of movement we use in labor. Organic movement that creates opening, that creates comfort. So take an opportunity here to bend each knee, to shift your weight side to side, to perhaps come high onto the balls of your feet and roll onto your heels, to do whatever feels good in your body. And then bring your fingertips back to center. Toe heel your feet together. Place your hands on your thighs and slowly roll to standing. And find yourself at the top of your mat in Tadasana again. As you inhale, reach your arms overhead. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway up. And exhale, plant your hands at the top of your block. Lift your right leg into the air, standing splits. Roll your right inner thigh skyward so your toes point straight down at the mat, and activate your toes by pressing through the ball of your foot. That will make your foot feel lighter as you lift. Start to soften your left knee. Step your right foot back and turn down your right heel. Rise into Warrior Two. Shoulders and hips square towards the long edge of your mat. Left sit bone tucks under, and left knee tracks straight forward. As you inhale, straighten your front leg, reach up, look up, connect your fingertips. As you exhale, find your Warrior Two. Inhale, straighten your front leg, reach up, look up. Exhale, Warrior Two. Last time, inhale. And exhale into Warrior Two. Reach your left arm forward. Hinge forward and place your left forearm on the top of your left thigh. Sweep your right arm bicep along your ear for extended side angle. Roll your heart and your baby open towards the ceiling, drawing your tailbone towards the inside of your back heel. Take one more round of breath here. And on your next inhale, come into Reverse Warrior. Right fingertips come down your right leg, onto your calf or your thigh, avoiding your knee, and left arm sweeps, reaching for the space where the ceiling meets the wall. Sink deep into your front knee. Our tendency here is to straighten our front leg. Keep your knee stacked over your ankle. Take one more breath. And as you exhale, move into triangle. Straighten your front leg, send your hips towards the back of the room and reach forward and down. For your shin, a block or the mat. Reach your right arm skyward. Keep a micro bend in your front knee. Roll your baby, your heart, your chest open towards the ceiling. Left sit bone tucks underneath your right, and shoulders are stacked. Take one more breath here. And then soften your front knee and release through Warrior Two. Straighten your front leg, and this time moving into Goddess Pose. Turn your toes toward the corner edges of your mat, heels in, and sit down and back, arms out to your sides. Inner thighs roll towards the mat. Upper body back, shoulders stacked over your hips, and knees tracking over your second toes. Sit down a little bit deeper and lift your heels if you'd like to challenge yourself. Imagine this is a contraction. How would you breathe? What would you visualize? What thoughts are running through your head? Sit down one more inch. And release. Straighten your legs, reach your arms overhead. Bring your hands to heart center. Toe heel your feet together. And step to the top of your space. Lift your left knee into the air. Bring your hands to heart center and cross your left ankle over the top of your right thigh, sitting down and back for Galavasana prep. Continue to lift your left knee towards the ceiling to square your hips, upper body back. Stretching the left hip, releasing the psoas. This is a great pose if you have any sciatic or piriformis pain during pregnancy. Sit down one more inch and release. Plant your left foot flat. Lift your right knee into the air. Cross your right ankle over the top of your left thigh. Activate your right toes as you sit down and back for a glute stretch. Continue to lift your right knee skyward and draw your shoulders back over your hips. Bend your left knee a little bit deeper. And release. Plant your right foot next to your left. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway up, creating length in your spine, gazes down at your toes. And as you exhale, plant your hands on the top of your block. Step your left foot back and to the left, setting up for Warrior One. In Warrior One, our feet are on railroad tracks rather than in one straight line. So the heels are not lined up, but rather you could lie 2x4 between your feet. Turn down your left heel and reach your arms overhead, shoulders stacked over your hips. Left inner thigh draws back so the outside of the left hip can draw forward. Sink deep into your right knee. Sweep your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, and draw your fists towards the mat, lifting your heart skyward for a gentle back bend here. Take one more breath. And release. Square your shoulders to the inside of your right thigh and fold forward for Humble Warrior. Neck is long here, gazes at the floor in front of you. Soften your elbows as you draw your hands overhead, keeping your fingers interlaced. Take one more breath. And then release your hands to the inside of your right foot. Come onto the ball of your back foot. Drop your left knee and toe heel your right foot right and forward for runner's lunge. You can come down onto your elbows if it's available to you, but the intention here is to open the hips, to create more space for baby to descend. And release. Come back onto your hands if you're not there already. toe heel your right foot in. Lift your back knee. Place your hands on your block and step forward. Inhale, lift halfway up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise up, reach overhead. And exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, plant your hands at the top of your block and step your right foot back and to the right. Turn down your right heel and find your warrior one. The back leg becomes the steering leg here, and as the right inner thigh draws back, the outside of the right hip can draw forward to make room for the tailbone to descend. Sweep your hands behind your back and interlace your fingers. Draw your fist toward the mat as you lift your heart skyward. Sink deeper into your front knee. Breathe in here. And as you exhale, release into humble warrior, folding forward, squaring your shoulders to the inside of your left thigh, and sweep your interlaced hands forward. Keeping a micro bend in your elbows as you do so. Breathe into that sensation in your left hip. Invite the opening. And release your hands to the inside of your left foot. Come onto the ball of your back foot and drop your right knee as you toe heel your left foot to the left and slightly forward for runner's lunge. We create more space in the pelvis and the hips to allow more space for baby to descend. And that connection of baby's head on the top of the cervix is what causes labor, is what starts contractions. Opening the hips is an important part of that process. This is a great pose to use in your last trimester. And release. Come back onto your hands. Toe heel your left foot in. Place your hands on your blocks, lift your back knee, and step forward. Inhale, lift halfway up. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, reach overhead. And exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Tree. Ground down through your right foot and draw the sole of your left foot to your inner right thigh or calf. Energetically press the sole of your foot into your standing leg and resist that tension. And then take any arm variation that you like. Reaching overhead, keeping your hands at heart center, drawing your arms into cactus. Keep your shoulder blades on your back and your tailbone drawing down. Release. Other side. Ground down through your left foot. Draw the sole of your right foot to your inner left thigh or calf. Press your foot into your standing leg and resist that tension to create stability. And then mirror whatever you did on the first side. There's no better pose than this one to symbolize the relationship between you and your baby right now. Just as a tree draws up what it needs to grow from the earth, your baby requests that of you to grow, develop, and be nurtured. So here, receive what you need today from the universe, just as that tree, just as your unborn baby does. Take in what you need to grow, to become stronger, to become more alive. And release. Toe heel your feet out toward the long edges of your mat. Bring your hands to heart center. Moving into Malasana. Start to lower your hips between your heels slowly, bending your knees until your triceps come to the inside of your knees. And then energetically press your triceps into your knees and resist that tension with your inner knees to lengthen out through the crown of your head and draw your sit bones towards the mat. Once again, this is a great pose to do in early labor and late in your pregnancy because it shortens your birth canal and opens your hips for your baby's head to descend. Take one more breath here. And release. Plant your hands and sit back behind your heels. Setting up for Baddha Konasana. Soles of your feet together, knees splay out. Remove the flesh from your sit bones to create good connection between your sit bones and the mat. And if you have tight hips, you can slide your heels further away from your groins. First, as you inhale, lengthen out through the crown of your head, creating more space. And as you exhale, start to draw your heart towards the top of your feet, keeping a long, straight spine, and noticing your head-heart alignment. Keeping one line of energy from your heart out through the crown of your head. Shoulder blades draw down your back. Release. Janu Shirshasana, or hamstring stretch. Extend your right leg out and draw the sole of your left foot to your inner right thigh. Once again, remove the flesh from your sit bones and square your shoulders to the top of your right foot. Unlock your right knee by pressing your right heel into the mat and start to walk your hands forward, drawing your heart towards the top of your right foot. It's not important to grab your foot here for leverage. Rather, it's critical to keep that head-heart alignment and shoulder blades on your back. You'll also notice the stretch in the left lower back, the quadratus laborum muscle, or QL. That muscle is responsible for holding up the weight of the uterus and the weight of the belly during pregnancy. It's often tight. Release. Switch your legs. Extend your left leg out and draw the sole of your right foot to your inner left thigh. Square your shoulders to the top of your left foot. Soften your left knee as you walk your hands forward. Keep your left toes active. Spread your toes, press through the ball of your foot. Release. Bend your knees and place your feet flat in front of you. And then slowly rolling through one side, make your way onto your back. If you ever feel dizzy or lightheaded, roll to one side. Lift your knees into the air like you just fell backwards on a chair. Setting up for happy baby pose. Grab your feet from the outside, threading your elbows to the inside of your knees, and shine the soles of your feet towards the ceiling. Heels stacked over your knees. Root your low back or your sacrum into the mat and draw your shoulder blades into the mat. And then draw your heels towards your knees, rolling side to side on your low back if that feels good. We're using this pose to reroute the head of the femur into the hip socket. And release. Make your way into your final Shavasana. Make your way into this final pose of surrender. This pose where we practice letting go completely. Find a space where you can be still for several breaths. Perhaps in a fetal position, sharing that position with your baby. Maybe in seated meditation, or if you're still comfortable lying on your back. Then reconnect to the breath. And remember that this pose, in which you find stillness and calm, is always available to you. Oftentimes in labor, this pose is a powerful place for women to relax between contractions, finding your Shavasana, your breath, a place of surrender and of peace. Know that this pose is yours to take with you and to be of service to you anytime you need it. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, bringing life back into your body. Deepen your breath again, and stretch your arms overhead and your legs towards the front of your mat. Find your way back into a seated position, keeping your eyes closed and your gaze inward. The word Namaste means the light in me sees the light in you. In honor of the woman, the teacher, and the mother in me and you, please bring your hands to heart center for one last Om to close our practice today. Empty your lungs. Breathe in. Namaste.